We're going to wrap things up today with an amazing guest. Tiffany Pham is the founder and CEO of Mogul, an award-winning platform that allows women to connect, share information, and access knowledge from around the world. Today, she joins us to discuss her new book, You Are Mogul, How to Do the Impossible, Do It Yourself, and Do It Now. Everyone, please give a warm Build Brunch welcome to Tiffany Pham.
Hi, Lucas. So nice to meet you.
Hey, Allie, nice to meet you. Hey, nice to meet you.
Hello, welcome to the table. Thank you.
Woo! So thanks so much for being here.
Thanks so much for having me.
Here is your book. It's
Yay.
beautiful. I can't wait to read it. Why don't you just tell us, what was the inspiration for this?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so running Mogul, which is currently one of the largest female millennial platforms worldwide, I've had such an opportunity to meet incredible young women around the world who have told me that when they heard about my story, that it helped change their lives. And so I wanted to share my story with millions more. So thus started writing the book, and here it is today.
And I love the story behind the word mogul and how it connected to Google. So can you explain why you thought that was important to name it Mogul?
Yeah, absolutely. So I had been inspired from an early age to be like my grandmother, who to me was a mogul. And actually, when I ended up at Harvard Business School later on, a lot of my friends would call me the media mogul around campus. And so I always saw that word as a term of endearment. But then when I graduated, I started seeing that no women were often called moguls on air or in the press in general. So I started Googling the word mogul and started to realize that the first 6 pages of results were in fact men's names. Warren Buffett, Rupert Murdoch, etc. Where were the women's names? And so in fact, when I scrolled to page 6, finally I started to see some. So anyways, today, if you Google the word mogul, we are the #1 search result, helping to redefine that word for the next generation of girls and women to know they can be moguls too.
Wow. So awesome.
Thank you.
So, will you share with us what exactly the platform Mogul is and what it's used for? I have another question, but I'll let you answer that.
Yeah, of course. So we're a platform that enables millions of women all around the world to connect, share information, access knowledge from each other. We are backed by incredible media innovators, from Hearst to the founders of Comcast, Match.com, NPR, MTV, just incredible heads across the board who all believe us to be the next-gen technology and media company for girls and women worldwide. And for every dollar that Mogul earns, we have partnerships with incredible organizations worldwide, such as the United Nations, to provide free educational resources to one woman in need, such that then over 62 million women around the world can now get free educational resources. And so the ways in which we drive that partnership are by offering our users on the platform who are already there to connect and converse, educational resources as well as job opportunities, which we offer through partnerships with companies worldwide, over 20,000 companies we collaborate with. And ultimately then, altogether in this scope, help to address a couple of issues in women's lives today. Number one, women represent just 10 to 15% of share of voice globally. So through Mogul, by encouraging them to converse and connect and share information and access knowledge, we're ultimately helping to accelerate this rate of share of voice. Two, by partnering with companies all around the world to offer up jobs and internships through the Mogul platform, and thereby get these opportunities top of mind to our talent and accessible to our talent, then therefore we're accelerating the rate at which women are being placed into managerial positions and above currently as well. Right now we represent just 10 to 20% of top leadership positions, so it's going to take women until 2085 to reach parity with men. So this is also addressing that. 2085.
2085. All right, so we have some time.
So hopefully through this scope, we can help address that issue.
Yeah.
And then finally, our final partnership with the United Nations and more, providing free educational resources to women worldwide. If we weren't doing this, there'd be actually 62 million women around the world, girls, who are prevented by their societies from attending schools because of their gender. So this is another reason why we must work on this today.
Wow, so that's a very noble cause.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing it.
Well, you have such an inspiring story. You're Vietnamese and you immigrated here from France and you didn't speak English, and you were able to gain influence by learning coding. And I like that there's several points you make in your book and in life is that empowering women through technology, but also, which I did not know, is you getting funding in a male-dominated system. And and not only 2% of VC money have gone to women in 2016, I believe, but I think you kind of did an interesting way to raise money that kind of empowered you. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, so basically, at the very beginning, I knew no one in the industry. So basically, was so lucky as to have a friend kind of send out a bunch of notes, a friend that helped all throughout my life and his life, and to whom I owe so much. But at the time, I just wanted to help. And so as a result, when it came time to help me, he jumped in, sent a few notes. One of the first people he introduced me to was the founder of Match.com. So that was the first person ever that I pitched to. Can you imagine? It was like such a terrible, in hindsight, decision to do that, especially because I made so many mistakes pitching him. But luckily, he read into my passion and he connected with it. Actually, it's not mentioned in the book, but it's also, he connected with it because he had had a similar story launching his platform and seeing how when he was not funded, he had been, as a result, losing users. And so as a result, he didn't want me to experience that obstacle. So he funded it. He became our first investor advisor. And then that started a snowball. Then Gary Vaynerchuk came on board as an advisor, investor. I'm sorry, just an incredible force, as then more investors came on board. And then all of a sudden that started the momentum, a snowball. Until then, I was able to establish a standard for ourselves, especially as you see many female founders now share some Me Too incidents throughout their fundraising process. What I did was I established a time frame during which I felt safe. My safe environment was tea time, 3 to 5 in our own offices.
So smart, yeah.
And so I would invite all of our investors to come 3 to 5 to have tea with me. And actually that ended up being a huge pro because that also helped to sift out the ones who would be willing to come to then even show me more who was more likely to say yes.
Wow.
So it was self-selecting.
Yeah.
I think it's such an interesting lesson that women can learn kind of outside of tech as well. And also, you said something too that we're in the era of creating movements, not just companies. So I think it's really interesting. I haven't heard that before, but I think that's so true. Is that what you're trying to do with Mogul? It's not just a company, it's like a movement?
Absolutely. I think with Mogul, we are trying to stay true to our mission, which is enabling women through information access, economic opportunity, and education. And we're building, therefore, not a company, but a movement towards those issues and addressing them in every way possible. We address them through our team, our culture, our workplace, our users, all the ways in which we monetize. Every single part of our business model is aimed towards this. And as a result, it's not just a company, it's a movement.
Your career has been so impressive. Who did you write this book for, though? Who do you hope picks this up and reads it?
I wrote it for the millions of women around the world that I hoped would be inspired by the stories and ultimately learn from my mistakes, because obviously when you read the book, you realize that I don't just share all the glory. I share many of the mistakes along the way, and that's the most important part of all. And so I'm excited that in every single phase of my life, I share the biggest things that I learned. And then ultimately, I hope that all the readers that read it enable themselves to become moguls today.
Amazing.
I love that. Well, Tiffany, thank you so much for joining us. And you can pick up your own copy of You Are a Mogul on bookstands today. That's all from us. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same table.
Thank you.